Hi everyone and welcome. Going outside the box again, and this time with light therapy. So light as medicine and all the many things it can heal. Now light therapy began back in the 1800s. In 1902, a guy by the name of Finsen actually received the Nobel Prize for curing tuberculosis with colored light. Now, during the early 1900s, light was used for a large number of medical conditions, and it was very effective. In the 1920s, experiments were done with rabbits where they took let's say 8 rabbits and put them in different boxes, living spaces, if you will, for a period of time with colored lights. So one would have red and yellow and blue, green, purple, violet, or whatever, and they lived in that light and that experience for whatever time, and they were measured. Well, some of them grew like gigantic under a certain color, while others remained small, dwarf-like. Others grew hair 4 or 5 times the normal length of that species of rabbit, while others were hairless. There were many things that were observed, recorded. So we have known about light and its effect on our bodies and the bodies of animals for a long time. Now, if we come on up through the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, there were people that were using light to completely cure burn victims. Light that could be just projected onto the body over a period of time, and there would be no scarring after a severe burn. We take that on up into the 1950s. Now, in the 50s, they did experiments with light, with color, because every color is a different frequency. So they did experiments at that time with plants. Now, again, red, blue, green, black, all different colors. And what they found was that plants would either grow like a weed or they would remain dwarf-like. Some would grow huge root structures but would not bear fruit. Some would bear 3 times the amount of fruit. And this was all known all the way through the 50s, that you could do this with color. Okay? Now, 1960s, 70s, 80s, there was very little information getting out there to the public about this. But in 1985 or so, Dr. Jacob Liberman wrote a book called Light, Medicine of the Future. Well, I ran across that book back at that time. I think I found it in closer to the 1990s. And I actually went to a workshop that there was a doctor that actually got training from Dr. Liberman. And we did some fun experiments with light. So if you take a big megaphone that you would, let's say you yell into at the football game, or the cheerleaders would yell into it. You got a small end and you got a big end. Well, if you turn that around, because normally you would yell into the small end, but if you turn that around, you cover up the big end and you attach some goggles. So when you're looking through it, all you can see is a small end at the bottom. But now you put colored plates in there. So as a person is looking through the goggles and all other light is blocked out, all they see is the color at the bottom. Now you put their fingers in a piece of biofeedback equipment, and all the colors that are pleasant to them, you won't even see the needle move at all. But if there's a color that is stressful, you will see the peg just, because there'll be a stress response when that color goes in. Some people will actually pull away. They can't look at that. So what does that mean for you? If you had an experience as a child and the room was a certain color, then whatever that traumatic experience was will be remembered in your subconscious through color and can be re-triggered through being in a room or having an experience like we did in that class of looking at that color with everything else blocked out like that. Flashing lights. There are videos that have a lot of flashing lights that can be very disturbing for some children and adults. But color has been around for a long time. Color is here to stay. But color as a medicine, now that is unique. Now, I experimented with, and still do, I experimented with color going back to early 2000s. I built my own light box with colored glass to be able to sit in front of and receive healing from it. There are many tools out there today that do similar things. But one of the biggest, let's say, innovations of recent time has been the LEDs and the far and near infrared lights. Now, far infrared doesn't go that deep into the body, but it's quite warming. So that's why you have your saunas that are far infrared. Near infrared, on the other hand, doesn't produce the heat, but goes deeper into the body for healing. Now, I'm bringing this up because there's a lot of people that are receiving near and far infrared treatments. And I want to encourage it because I was just at an event this past weekend, and I experienced it myself. So you have wands, let's say, with red light coming out of little knobs, and it can be put on your arm. It will relax your muscles. You can put it on your head, your scalp, and the heat from it will relax your scalp. You have little helmets or hats that you can put on that will emit the near infrared or far infrared that is supposed to stimulate hair growth. That is being widely used right now. But also, it is being used to remove trauma from the brain. So our soldiers that come back from the war, many of them are being treated all over the country. They're being treated with red light. Now, what that does, the near infrared penetrates deep enough into the brain to, let's say, warm up and allow that tissue to relax, that part of the brain that seized up, seeing and experiencing what they did in war. So let me tell you about my experience this weekend. And it really wasn't mine. It was the person I was standing near that was receiving. So this person got into the chair and they put the kind of a helmet-like thing, or may have looked a little bit more like what we used to, well, I didn't sit under it, but what my mother or grandmother may have sat under at the hairdresser as a hair dryer. And it had the LED lighting all inside it. Well, after about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, this person started to get all fidgety and agitated. Well, I tuned in and I said, oh, it's bringing up anger. All you have to do is breathe. And sure enough, they started breathing. Everything calmed down. So when I tuned into the person, the anger was trapped in the optic nerve. And the LED lighting was actually stimulating the optic nerve, not just the, think of the dura mater and things of the brain, but the actual optic nerve going back to the visual cortex and releasing emotion. So I'm telling you about this because I'd like everyone to start exploring light and working with simple things so that it's not a lost science like it was over 100 years ago. I don't think that's going to happen this time around. But I think that the more, let's say, backyard, basement, garage scientists that we can get on board at this time with the information that's out there now, then we'll have something even more positive to comment on when it comes to health and healing with light as medicine. Thank you.